Hello everyone and welcome back to the fourth part and final part of our tutorial series on how to make a keyboard. So in the previous video we designed the schematic, the PCB and the case. Today we go inside the real world and we are bringing it all together. We are going to cover every step of the soldering and assembly process to create the finished keyboard. Let's get started. So first we need to prepare the header pin for the microcontroller. So in order to achieve a clean and flush mount, we will carefully remove the plastic spacer from the pins. When it's removed, you can use a pair of pliers to cut the pin in half. These shorter pins are going to be the key to getting the microcontroller to sit as low as possible on the PCB. Second step, we need to solder the microcontroller. So it's quite tricky. You will need to solder two pins of the microcontroller at the opposite corner and make sure that they are perfectly perpendicular. Once they are in place, you can position the microcontroller on the board before soldering down. As you can see, I placed a small piece of Kapton tape on the PCB directly under the microcontroller to avoid short circuit. Now that the controller is in position, you can solder the first two pins to secure the microcontroller to the PCB. In order to solder the rest of the pin, I want to share a tip for you. I use a small ruler as a spacer to slightly elevate the microcontroller. As you can see, this creates a perfect gap to insert the remaining pin one by one. Using this tip, it's super easy to proceed. Simply insert the pin, and when every pin of the row is inserted, you can just solder everything. Once you solder all the pins on the PCB side, you can just flip the board and solder the other pin. When you solder the two rows of pins, you can just flip the board over and solder the pin to the microcontroller side. This is fairly quick. Just use a touch of solder on each pin and it will be perfect. Actually, for future keyboard, I'm exploring a new method that doesn't require a pin at all. Right now it's quite tedious to cut this pin in half to get a low footprint. Now we can solder our first surface mount component, the reset switch. The easiest way is to apply a small amount of solder to just one of the pads on the PCB. After, you use tweezer to hold the switch in place, reheat the tin pad to torque it down, and once it's secure, solder the other pad. Okay, now you can solder the headers. So as you can see, the PCB is reversible, so it can be built either on the left or on the right end. To ensure the signals are routed correctly, we need to bridge the solder pads that are opposite of the microcontroller. This creates a jumper that correctly configures the board. So as you can see, soldering these headers add a bit of thickness to the board. For this build, it's not an issue because the switches are tall. However, for my next project that use surface mounted switch, I will need a different process to keep the final build as thin as possible. Now that we got the header down, we can move on to the diode. So just like the reset switch, we'll make this process much faster by tining one pad of every diode footprint first. After tining one pad, you can just pick diode with tweezer, and now you need to align the diode. You need to pay attention to the line on the diode itself. This line marks the cathode and it must align with the line on the PCB footprint, which you can see inside the half rectangle shape. So place the diode, solder the tinned side to take it in place, and then repeat for all the diode. I repeat, you need to align the line on the diode with the half rectangle shape. The line need to be placed on the half rectangle side. As you can see, these footprints are also compatible with through-hole diode. Actually, I find it easier to use surface mount diode. It's cleaner and actually it's not that bothering. Okay, so next step is the critical step. You will need to solder the battery connector. So you need to be extremely careful. If you accidentally short the battery wires, you can permanently damage the microcontroller, and desoldering it at this stage will be clearly a nightmare. So the safest way to do it is cut and solder only one wire at a time. So you cut the first wire, strip a tiny bit of insulation, and solder it to the pad. Only after it's secure, you should cut and solder the second wire. This minimizes the risk of exposed wire touching, and also make sure that you keep the wire as short as possible because the final space inside the case is quite limited. So actually, it's nearly the end of the tutorial. It's the most satisfying part, is the final assembly of the case and switches. First, you need to place the 3D printed top case over the PCB and you can start inserting the switches. Be aware that this PCB supports multiple switch types, so there is several alignment all. I'm using low profile Red Dragon switches, and these switches mount in a 180 degrees rotated orientation. A switch should always snap in smoothly. If you feel a lot of resistance, you may be using the wrong hole or orientation. So with the switch in place, it's time to solder them. Another tip is for the switch that are on the edge of the board. You should push down firmly on the switch as you solder the pin. This squeeze the case and the PCB tightly together, eliminating any gaps and improving the final sound and feel of the keyboard. For the rest of the switches, a quick solder on each pin is all that's needed. Okay, so the final step is to add your keycap. At the time of recording, I was still waiting for my custom set to arrive, so I'm just using some leftover keycap for now. And with that, your keyboard is fully built. So this video marks the end of the core tutorial series. In addition, with this video series, I will release a presentation video soon sharing my personal journey in building this keyboard. It will be more of a YouTube storytelling experience and it won't be linked with tutorial. However, my next project related to keyboard will be the build of, I will update my library in order to do keyboard using the Kale PG1316 switches, the surface mounted switches, and I will probably feature a new board with these switches. So if this series helped you, please subscribe, leave a like and comment below if you have any question or need advice. I'm always happy to help. As you may see, the GitHub repository is a community resources. Please feel free to clone it, submit pull request if you find an error or open a discussion. I truly want it to be a hub for keyboard builders because I feel we need more open source tool in this community. So use it, share it and give me feedback. Thank you for watching.